Hey, so we have this problem, and they want us to to find all of the values that they've given us. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my missing edge C, because they gave me A equals 5.4, B equals 5.8. I need to find my C. I can use Pythagoras' theorem, which says A squared plus B squared equals C squared. All right, so 5.4 squared plus 5.8 squared equals C squared, and I can take the square root. And whenever I do that, I'm going to get my C is equal to 5.4 squared minus 5.8 squared. Oh, plus 5.8. I get C is 7.924645510. I'm going to keep track of all these like long um, decimal places until the very end, and I'm going to round at the very end. Right. So I have my A, my B, and my C. Now I can find these ratios that they're talking about here. So sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, cosecant are all dealing with the ratios of these sides. So sine of alpha is opposite over hypotenuse. Ready? Cosine of alpha is adjacent over hypotenuse. Opposite, so this is our alpha. Opposite side is this one. Our adjacent side is this one, and our hypotenuse is always this one that's opposite the 90-degree angle. All right. Tangent of alpha is adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent. All right, so there's a little mnemonic to help memorize these. These are the most important to remember because the others are just flip-flopped. So, SOHCAHTOA. You'll hear this a lot. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. There's like a couple of like acronyms that you can think of to remember these. There's one about a hippie. Some old hippie caught another hippie. Um, and then the last part, I don't remember. You can look it up. There's like a bunch of different ways to remember them. But SOHCAHTOA is normally the things that most people go to help remember these. So let's start by finding, I'm going to change colors, cosine of alpha in this problem. Cosine of alpha is adjacent over hypotenuse. My adjacent side is B over my hypotenuse, which is C. Alrighty, side B over side C. And they told us B is 5.8, and we found C is 7.92464510. Alrighty, so my cosine of alpha is, when I plug that in the calculator, I get 5.8 divided by 7.924645510. I get 0.73189. I'm going to stop there because we only need to round to the 10th place, so we just get 0.7. So cosine of alpha is 0.7. Alrighty. I'm going to skip over and do sine of alpha. All right. Sine we know is opposite over hypotenuse. All right. Looking at my alpha, my opposite side is the side A over the side C. My side A is 5.4. My side C, we already said, was 7.924645510. And when I plug this in the calculator, I get 0.68141 and some other stuff, but we only need to round to the 10th place, so I get 0.7. All right. Now that we've done sine, cosine, tangent, we can talk about cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Alrighty. Cosecant is the inverse of sine. So it's h over O, hypotenuse over opposite. Alrighty. Secant is the opposite of cosine. So it's hypotenuse over adjacent. And cotangent is the inverse of tangent. So it's adjacent over opposite. All right. And the way that I've always kind of remember that is the sine goes with cosecant, the S and the C. Cosine goes with secant, the S and the C. It's just a way that I remember it. However, you can remember it, please by all means remember it like that. But basically, cosecant, secant, and cotangent are the inverse functions of sine, cosine, and tangent, respectively. All right, so now we can find secant of beta and cotangent of beta. So secant of beta is the hypotenuse over adjacent. All righty. Okay, so now we're not looking at alpha anymore, we're looking at beta. And we said secant is the hypotenuse C over the adjacent side A. A is adjacent to beta. Alrighty, so our hypotenuse is 7.924645510 over our adjacent, which is 5.4, because our side A is adjacent to beta. So whenever you plug this in the calculator, you're going to get 1.4675, and we just need to the 10th place, so this is 1.5. So secant of beta is 1.5. And then cosecant of beta is hypotenuse over opposite. We know our hypotenuse is 7.924645510, and our opposite to beta. Oh, no, we're doing cotangent. I'm sorry, not cosecant. Cotangent of beta is adjacent over opposite. Alrighty. Our adjacent side to beta, so beta's right here. Our adjacent side is A. Our opposite side is B. Our adjacent side is A, which is 5.4, and our opposite side is B, which is 5.8. All right, so when we plug this in the calculator, 5.4 divided by 5.8, we get 0.93103, and we round to the 10th place, so this is 0.9. So cotangent of beta is 0.9, secant of beta is 1.5, sine of alpha is 0.7, and cosine of alpha is 0.7. And those would be my final answers. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so that all the work fits on one page.